The despair of winter is followed by the hope of spring.
Tale of Two Muses.
I remember the thing about that. Remember, because it was all set in the desert, and we had discussions about using Bethel's Beach and all of that. And then I don't know whether I came to you with the idea or someone, and I said, look, can we do this in the studio? The idea of letting the sand rise up and drop off and lighting it so that you got that hyper-real quality that's not, it's almost too real to be real, you know, I mean, and I think we had things like trays of methylated spirits in front of the cameras to give heat haze. And I mean, it was a difficult shoot in some ways because it was hot. I mean, it was hot, and we spent the entire episode in that studio.
Brutal truths.
I think it looked really cool, although I know Eric was, at the end he thought it looked too manufactured.
I thought it looked great.
Yeah, I did. I think
really set the stage for going back and revisiting that kind of stuff with Anthony and
sure.
Cleopatra.
And also it had a 50s musical quality to it anyway.
Let's dance.
I think of it as more of a dance piece than a musical per se. I mean, it's certainly not like The Bittersweet in the sense of a musical. It comes off a little more like a Broadway musical. I had pitched some other stories, and they came back to me and said, we like your writing, and we have this other story that we have on the schedule, and we'd like you to do this one for us. So they handed me the idea that it was basically Footloose. I mean, there's no secret about that.
It was certainly Footloose.
It was kind of Footloose, wasn't it?
Done in ancient times. We wanted to do another story with Tara, Cherie Appleby.
I'll admit the truth, which is that I did not care for the character of Tara. I had seen the other episode that she was in and not fallen in love with her as someone that I would have the opportunity to work with or on. And nothing against the actress, just the character. Well, by design, she's quite annoying.
You know what you've done, don't you?
Yeah, I know.
It's a crime we cannot pardon.
As a viewer, I had actually always been drawn more toward the serious side of Xena. There are some great moral questions addressed in the course of the show, and Tara getting on Gabrielle's nerves is not the deepest part of the series.
It's great, Tara. You really messed this up.
But I did feel that in the course of the episode, we got another layer of her, which I'm quite pleased with.
Thanks, Xena. It was really nice seeing you again. You too, Gabrielle?
Where do you think you're going?
She wasn't originally, and she isn't by the end of this episode, just a cliche of an annoying teen. She has reasons. She played a very nice subtext of that what she really wanted was to be liked, and her way of approaching it was the pigtail pulling. So I think that played nicely.
And it breaks my heart that Andros is stuck there. People aren't even allowed to do that.
Actually, one of my favorite things about doing this show was the chance to research into mythology and create a mythology for the town without dancing.
A terrible crime is being committed against our benefactor and protector, the great muse Calliope.
I learned about the Muses, and Terpsichore was one of the main goddesses that I worked into my backstory for why this town was not dancing. And I like coming away from a writing project a little smarter and more educated than I went in.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Philippa, the reformer.
One of the strengths of the series that the cast could make the transition from serious to comedic. Also that Autolycus would be in it, which was great for me. As a freelance writer, you didn't have the freedom to say, I need this recurring character and that recurring character. You had to work with the availability, so I just got lucky in that case.
People of Peleus, may I present to you Philippon of Crete, reformer of warlords, dancers, and evil people.
Had a bunch of ingredients like Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell, who was great as that insane kind of preacher kind of guy.
You just gotta let it go.
Praise Praise Calliope.
Praise Calliope.
Praise Calliope! Praise her! Praise her!
Having Bruce Campbell in an episode usually meant it was going to be one of the funny ones, but not necessarily. You could never predict what you were going to get from week to week, which was great.
We tried to incorporate into that episode also a little bit of the day in the life that Gabrielle needed a new pair of boots, I think it was.
Oh, yeah.
Touring the world is sure tough on shoes.
Yeah, I gotta get Argo to a blacksmith in the next town.
Actually, I was talking about my shoes.
But it was to make one of those really mundane things. What happens when your horse throws its shoe or something?
Yeah.
So she ended up with some totally crazy, crazy boots.
Are you sure you and Xena don't want to spend the night in the store? We could set up some cots for you.
We'll be fine. We're used to roughing it.
And the relationship with Xena and Gabrielle in that was a little like that day in the life. I remember there were some other things we did. We tried to do the taking a leak gag again, and there's a whole lot of gags in there that kind of, you know, similar.
I hate foreign food. So some of you think that dance is a way to express your inner feelings. It's an art. Well, Philippon has asked me to show you a real art. The art of war!
I love the incorporation of the sword fighting and dancing and the comparison of the two.
One!
I actually was studying sword fighting at the time. I had worked on the series Highlander and had met some sword practitioners while I was working there and was starting to study it, which was great when I was writing the scenes where Xena is teaching the people in town to sword fight or dance, depending how you look at it, because I could use what I'd learned in my own classes and put it into the episode. I can't claim credit for the varied choreography in the show, really. A lot of what happened in this show happened on the set. We built the framework of the storyline and the character arcs in the script, but in terms of the dance sequences, that was something that they choreograph when they have the location and the actors and see what they can pull off.
We didn't have a lot of rehearsal time. There never was a lot of rehearsal time, ever.
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 For
ever,
anything.
Ever, for anything ever. And to their credit, those actors would, you know, they'd arrive, okay, so we'd be shooting something maybe 11 o'clock in the morning, they'd arrive at 7 and that would be their time to rehearse and that would be it, you know. I think some of the dancers, they were taken to, they came in knowing it, but dancers are really quick, you know.
That's right.
They pick it up. And I can't remember whether we decided that Renee could do Irish dancing. I don't know who made that decision, but it was a great decision that her dancing was Irish dancing, and she was so good at it.
And if you watch Lucy, she never did pick up the dance moves. Renee picked them up real good, but Lucy just kind of walked through it and let her character...
Not be so cool at it.
Not be too cool, right.
And the thing is, second unit, you just go, well, okay, let me get this, you know, let me get this little piece of this person's face, let me get this, you know, and we'll get these cool shots, then second unit, we can clean it up. And you just go in with second unit, you spend all day just doing that. It's just the best thing to have. Yeah, Bruce, at some point he lifted her up, and I think also we had the stunt guy there at the same time, so Lucy was able to be lifted up and spun around.
Come on.
But then we'd go to the second unit and do more, you know, big double stuff, you know, that was...
Big doubles.
Big double stuff, yeah.
I remember my wife coming home from the big dance thing and saying being twirled on Bruce Campbell's shoulders endlessly had left her on the edge of vomiting for a portion of the day. So. One of my favorite things with that episode, Michael, though, was the end of the episode with Xena and Gabrielle kind of giving each other a hug at the end. It's always something that got me.